Sorry about that. Chat room, I need my chat people really quick out of the box. Anybody that can respond to this. I noticed from the opening video presentation that there seems to be a weird lag on the screen. If that's the case, I just got to reboot. We'll start again in 5 minutes. I will not continue with a subpar stream. If the stream is garbage, then we shall reconnect. So let me know how it feels. Chat room people, come on, chime in. See, there's something wrong here because I see people in the chat room and yet it's saying that there is absolutely zero in the chat room. And I'm like, no, there's people in the chat room. They're talking. Hi, April. Hi, Cam. Again, before I get started in earnest, there we go. Now the numbers are starting to climb. But why is there a lag? Are you noticing a lag? Is there a problem here? Let me know. You know how I get with this stuff. No one in the chat room. That's like a 20-minute delay. Put it up. What do you mean put it? What does put it up mean? What is that? Byron, what is that? Something you kids are saying? What is that? A new kids thing? Put it up. I don't feel this is a quality stream. I feel like I might have to restart. Or I consider and try to figure out what put it up is the chat. The chat isn't up. That's what it is. Okay. I'm sorry. Should have known. Should have known. Hi, Adam. Adam's here. April's here. Byron's here. Taranda's here. Is the stream okay, guys? That's what I'm asking. So far, has the stream been okay? Because if it's okay, I'm just going to keep moving. Mama Beller checking in. It's good, it's bad. If it's bad, then we'll just reboot and restart and redo the whole damn thing again. Here's what's going on. Here's what's happening. As I've told you, we do this show from sounds great, but I don't know how it looks. The video is what I'm concerned about. Video is not good. It's not good. Why not? Hi, Danny. Little fuzzy. Yeah, totally fuzzy. All right, I'm going to restart. We're going to restart the show. I'm going to restart it for 12:15. I got to reboot everything. I got to disconnect from the internet. I got to try and get a. No, it's not. It's not 4K. I don't know what's going on with the. I do a quick little recording before I go live. I just to check the quality and all that stuff, and it was crap. It was the crap of the recording was absolute, or the quality of the recording was absolute garbage. People are saying it's good. People are saying it's not good. Not 4K, but it's okay. See, but it's got to be 4K. What's the point? I mean, that means that there's some underlying issue. It's driving me nuts. Today's a very important day. We got to make sure everything is perfect. Fuzzy and out of sync. Right. That's what I thought, Cam. That's what I thought. We got to reboot. Okay. I'm sorry. It's out. I can see that it's out of sync. I'm watching this on the monitor and I'm not syncing up with what I'm saying. So we're going to restart. We'll come back in 5 minutes. I apologize. Let's do this again. Ugh, how embarrassing. We'll be right back. Sorry. God, that sucks. All right, are we back? I'm trying to figure out if we are back or not. Looks better because the recording wasn't. The recording that I just did wasn't any better. Okay, so a couple of things that we need to address. You know what? We're just gonna move forward. Is the chat room's probably not? There you go. Chat room is working. All right, we're just gonna pretend. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pretend that never happened. Hey, Jeff. Jeff's here. Jeff's hanging out. We got Jeff, we got Cam, we got Leslie, we got Byron, we got April. Let me know, though, seriously, folks. Let me know if this just gets terrible. Here's what I think is happening. It does look a little bit better now, Taronda. Thank you. Here's what I think is happening. So, as you know, we do this show from the Comfort Nest Studios high atop the One Percenter compound in beautiful, sunny downtown Highland Park, Texas. And the One Percenter compound is on the market. It's for sale. And so there have been people, there have been inspectors, there have been workmen in and out of the house for the last couple of days. Yesterday, remember, caused a big issue with the dog. The dog was like, I want to go in the yard and bite somebody. And it's like, nope, you can't. You got to stay here. So here's what I think happened, because I noticed this happened the other day as well. There is a relay, a big, like fancy, cool ass relay thing for the internet that is in one of the strategic windows in the main house. And it's targeted directly towards this room. It really works. We get great internet in this room. Always have, specifically because of this stream. But the workmen are moving it. Like when I went in there the other day, they moved it out of the window and put it on the floor. So I think that might be what's happening. I don't want to go over there. So we might just have to lump it for today. I do apologize. But thank you all. We're not going to let that stop us. We got a crazy ass day today, man. Crazy day. We got a whole bunch of great stories that we're going to talk about. It's a fun day. We're going to stay fun. We're going to stay positive. I'll tell you what the show is, first of all, in case you're new. Not that we have many new people, but tell a friend, huh? How about it? The show is a stream of consciousness performance with me just talking. I don't have a filter. I don't have a governor. I simply just blah, blah, blah from now until we decide to call it a day. Now, I do have some guardrails that I've installed. All of the things I'll be talking about are current events. Now, within those current events talks, comments, hot takes, whatever, we may drift off into the weeds because that's what a stream of consciousness allows for. So if you're willing to do that, that's what this is. Now, the show is all about headlines, hot topics, and current events, but we break it into 4 categories, 4 segments, 4 quarters, we call them. First quarter is a segment we call Antecedently on This Day. It's This Day in History. It doesn't take too long. I cherry pick events I find interesting, and I talk about them. Today, not a whole lot of historic stuff happening today, so that might be a quick one. Quarter 2, birthdays. You know what that is. I shouldn't have to explain it. Quarter 3, deads. That's where we look at people who died on this day historically, and we talk about their life, and we decide, did they go to heaven or did they go to hell? Those are the first 3 quarters. That's just a way to get me up and running and get us kind of used to what's happening here. Quarter 4, that's the headlines, hot topics, and current events. I usually do about 12 to 15 every single day, and they're the top things that people are discussing, and some things that I think they should be discussing, just weird other stories that I've found. The purpose of this show is to give you a well-rounded view of what everybody in the world is buzzing about that has nothing to do with politics. See, this show is not about politics. We stay away from the red hats and the crazy libs. We don't do any of that. We are the people in the middle who are just looking at this circus going on in front of us and saying, nah. So if you're willing to do that, if you're willing to get... And I told somebody, I'm like, it's not like I'm not divisive. I just find the other things to be divisive about. You're going to hate me, but it ain't going to be for how I voted. You might hate me for other things. You might hate me for a take that I have on, I don't know. I don't know what it is. People can hate for any number of reasons, but that's the show. That's what this is. We've been doing it every day, Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. ever since 2021. And I appreciate you guys joining us. Now, this show does run on your gratuities and your tips. Appreciate you. You've gotten us through for the last 2 years. Once 1 week every month. It's usually the first week because I pay my bills late. That's when we do what we call Pledge Week. All right. And I push hard. Try not to push hard the rest of the time because, quite frankly, it's a bit embarrassing that this is how I have to do this. But hey, full disclosure, I flay myself in front of you every day. You think I'm embarrassed? Please. I have no shame left at this point. But you guys, with your patronage, we'll call it. You're like the Medicis. Collectively, you're just the Medicis, and I'm some bad artist. Or is it Medici? I don't know. How fancy are you? Is it Caribbean or Caribbean? That depends. But you guys get us there every month. And we started out this week with a goal. And look, the number today is 96, although that number has to be adjusted because I see that April just knocked that number down again. Thank you, April. We're going to knock that number down. We're like, I got to do some quick math here, but we're like in the 30s now, like $40 or something. Let's just say $40 is the goal for the day. I mean, so thank you, April. April comes in the middle of me having technical difficulties and basically pushes us over the top because we've always made it. Sometimes we make it and we have a little bit extra scratch. And we're like, okay, that's good. That'll go to the rest of the week or the rest of the month or whatever. But this time I didn't think we were going to make it. And when we started the show and then April just drops a bomb and now we very well might make it because asking to get an additional $40 or whatever, $30 maybe, I don't know, whatever that number. I got to do the math in my head, but thank you, April. I don't think that's something that isn't achievable. So if anybody wants to get the last 40, then we'll have made it. If not, man, we came so close and we're fine. It'd just be harder, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. So thank you, folks. Appreciate you. If you want to drop something, you can do it in the Venmo. You can do it in the Cash App. And then, when the show starts again on Monday, we'll lay off this for a while. Although we never discourage people from showing their appreciation for this marvel of modern entertainment. But we won't be pushing. We won't be doing the whole evangelical thing where I got to, I had the weirdest dream last night. You guys, I got to tell you about this dream. It was like, I know, nothing worse. There's nothing worse than someone going, I got to tell you about this dream. I was in Arlington. And there was all kinds of crazy stuff going on in Arlington, as is normally the case. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on in Arlington. But I was walking with a girl, and I was just filled with this, love. It was like, oh, this girl, this person, this human, it's love. And we were walking in a plane crash. We saw a plane crash. I don't know. Maybe that's like an indicator of this is probably not love. But a plane took off. And it didn't clear some trees, and we were walking by them, and we watched this plane just take the tops off of these trees and then crash. And that's when I woke up. But before that happened, this person, this rando who I felt all of this weird ass love for, and oh, you're my soulmate, was my first girlfriend. My first, from when I was a little kid, not even call it a girlfriend, just the girl that I skated with once. Her name was Brandy. And I looked at her and it was I don't know, weird dream stuff. She was obviously a grown up. I wasn't, because I was a grown up in the dream when I'm walking in Arlington. But this person I was with was a grown up too. But it's I recognized them. I understood them to be my first girlfriend, the first girl I ever skated with at a roller skating party. What is that about? I don't even know if that person's still alive or what they look. They look good in my dream. I mean, I don't have details because it was just an overall sense, but that was a melatonin dream. Okay. Now I tell you about how I take melatonin every night. And for the first couple of weeks that you take melatonin, you're going to get some of the greatest dreams ever. The whole reason that I stuck with the melatonin, wasn't sure if it was actually working as good as the Tylenol PM. Certainly not as good as the Ambien, but can't do Ambien anymore. The reason that I stuck with the melatonin, which is now a godsend, it's the absolute best. But the reason I stuck with it was because the crazy, freaked out, weirdo dreams. But those go away once you take the melatonin nightly. Those dreams go away. Your body is like, oh yeah, no, I'm too tired for psychedelic dreams tonight. But last night I tried a new brand of melatonin, and the dream came back. The weird ass psychedelic. Really vivid, you remember it when you wake up. Anyway, that was my night. How was your night, guys? Hi, Peter. Peter, thank you. Peter also helped out this week. I need to put up the scroll to just make sure that we're thanking all the people that need to be thanked that helped out during this pledge week. Here you go. Boom. Okay. Anything else? Wow, look at that. That's like half the screen today. I don't like how big that is. Let me adjust that. That is way too big. You know, you get to see my beautiful face. We're going to get started. The stream has started. This stream of consciousness has started. This is just me ramping up, getting ready. Hold on, let me fix this. All right. What if I make that shorter? Yeah, there it goes. A little smaller. That's better. Okay. Again, the number we're trying to reach is something like $40 now. I got to do that. What's the math? Anybody do the math? I don't want to out what people tip, you know? So $40, let's say. All right, there you go. Let's get started. I don't know why I'm putting off getting started. Well, actually, I do know why. That was very disingenuous of me to just, verbal acne. I just did. I don't know why. I do know why. I'm hesitant to get started because I don't want there to be big power tools outside this window. And I'm trying to make sure that nobody's going to, because they're doing stuff. They're doing inspectors with power tools and there was some noise. So we'll just have to put up with that. All right. What do you say we get started? It is, I'm not even on the right page. Look at me. Ooh, I am a little bit befuddled today. It's the High Noon Rant for the 5th day of April, year of our Lord, 2024. April the 5th is the 96th day of the year, 96 because of leap year. There's 270 more of these remaining until the end of the year, which means get those New Year's Eve plans started. 270 more days. That's it. That's all you got left in this year. Make them count. I don't know why the hell I said that. That's a stupid thing to say. Oh, stream of consciousness. I'm going to say stupid shit. Here we go. Let's move into quarter one antecedently on this day. This is where we talk about all the things that have helped shape our understanding of this day. Not a whole lot, man. Got to be honest. Not a killer day historically. Antecedently on this day in 1614 in Virginia, Native American Pocahontas marries English colonist John Rolfe. Pocahontas. She's probably like 10. Right? I'm sure it was love. I'm sure it wasn't just that some pedophile colonist. I don't know who he is. He's important because his name, he's got a Wikipedia page. I just didn't link on it. Here's the other thing. Pocahontas. I don't know. I don't really, what's the difference between Pocahontas and Sacagawea? Aren't they like kind of the same person? Aren't they the same character? Did they have like a Jamestown clone factory the way we have a Hollywood clone? I don't know what the difference is. Probably a big difference. Although I imagine that they're both historical and famous because white colonialists decided to take them on their adventures and they were hot. I bet you that is the common denominator. I bet you both Sacagawea and Pocahontas, relatively speaking, were hot. I mean, not by today's standards, because they probably only bathed, once a month. Or I don't know. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. I know the French didn't bathe much. The French were stinky. All the perfumes. And on this day, antecedently in 1621, the Mayflower set sail from Plymouth, Massachusetts on a return trip to England. All the quitters were on board. All the ones that were like, yeah, I don't think so. I'm going to go back to jolly old England. Stairs, you bunch of quitters. I'm sure it was just a supply run. But there were some people that were like, this sucks. Dude, when we go, are you going back? Can I catch a ride? Antecedently on this day in 1862, the American Civil War, the Battle of Yorktown begins. Now, I saw this and I was like, huh? Civil War? Yorktown? Yorktown isn't a civil war, but apparently there was. Apparently Yorktown, man. Two major historic American wars took place there in Yorktown. Imagine the concessions. Imagine if you're a tourist and you go to Yorktown. You want to go to the Civil War stuff? Nah, everybody wants to go to the Revolutionary War stuff, right? That's what Yorktown is known for. That's where Cornwallis gave up. That's where he surrendered. Yeah, but apparently Yorktown also made some waves during the Civil War. On this day in 1862, the Battle of Yorktown begins. Not to be confused with the real Battle of Yorktown. On this day, antecedently in 1951, during the Cold War, Ethel and Julius Rosenberg are sentenced to death for spying for the Soviet Union. We talked about that the other day. I think it was their birthdays, or I think it was the anniversary of their death, or whatever it was. Not sold on the idea that Ethel and Julius Rosenberg were actually guilty of what they were accused of. I think that was all a setup. I think they were just looking to, well, I don't want to go there, but there you have it. That is it for antecedently on this day. I know, right? I told you. I said there's like hardly anything interesting. I mean, there's a bunch of World War II stuff, but nothing like really significant. And then there's like, Some tornadoes happened in the 60s. Moving on. Let's talk about birthdays. Want 'em, want 'em, want 'em. They claim it's their birthday. I'm so fucking weird. Seriously, if you just somebody who didn't know anything about this, wasn't somebody who hung out with us every day, wasn't used to or accustomed to my hijinks, they'd look at this and go, that's a crazy person. That is somebody who's just odd. I promise I'm not this odd in real life. This is more performative than anything else. So I'm just going with it. It's a stream. I'm harnessing the energy that is inherent within my body. And I'm just going with it. Let's do some birthdays. Born on this day in 1856, Booker T. Washington, African-American educator, essayist, and historian. Got to be honest, same thing. Talked about Maya Angelou yesterday. It was Maya Angelou's birthday. Great woman. Programming says she's a great woman. all I've seen is she's a great woman. Wonderful. I don't know anything about Maya Angelou. I also don't really know anything about Booker T. Washington. Like I know more about Booker T and the MGs than I do about Booker T. Washington. He's not George Washington. They only allowed us white kids when we were getting the public school education in the 1970s and 80s. They only allowed us white kids to learn about 4 black people. That's pretty much it. It was the peanut butter guy. Don't even know his name, George Washington Carver. It was him. It was him. It was Rosa Parks. We learned about Rosa Parks. We learned about Martin Luther King. And I think that's it, man. I think that's basically it. So forgive me. I'm sure Booker T. Washington was a great man. It's just that my public school education in the United States didn't find the time to even devote a single chapter to him or his accomplishments. But happy birthday, Booker T. Born on this day in 1883, it's a shame that I know more about Walter Houston than I do about Booker T. Washington. Walter Houston, born on this day in 1883, he is a scion. What is it? What is it? Is a scion like the top dog of a family? I don't know. Anyway, Walter Houston is the son or the father to John Houston, who is then the father to Angelica Houston, who is then like the father to Danny Houston. No, Danny Houston's the brother. Who's the guy? Did you ever see Boardwalk Empire? He's a great actor. He's a great young actor, man. He's currently one of them guy actors, but I've seen him do a whole bunch of stuff, and he's awesome, and he's one of the Houstons. But he was in Boardwalk Empire. And if you remember Boardwalk Empire, the HBO Martin Scorsese TV show, starred Steve Buscemi about Atlantic City in the 1920s. This dude, one of these Houston dudes, played a guy who came back from World War II and had half his face shot off. So he had to wear he had early 1905 plastic or 1920 plastic surgery, I guess. And he had to wear a mask. Oh, it was so creepy. But that dude was such a great actor. He's a Houston. So there are a lot of Houstons out there. On this day in 1883, the first one was born, Walter Houston. I mean, I'm sure there were Houstons before, but he was the first. He was a famous actor, and then his son became a famous director, and then his daughter became a famous actress. And it goes on and on and on. Nepotism, Hollywood, company town, I tell you this. Now, we're going to run off a couple of names of people celebrating birthdays. Walter Houston was a very big actor, but I don't know that he rises to the level of these next few actors that I'm about to name. All born on the same day, not in the same year, but man, are these some titans of Hollywood. Born on this day in the year 1900, my favorite actor of all time. It really does depend. I'll say he's my favorite actor, and then I'll go, ooh, but also Cary Grant. I really like Cary Grant. But this guy, I think, might be a better actor than Cary Grant. I just dug Cary Grant's energy and his whole vibe. Happy birthday. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and say it. My favorite actor, my all-timer, Spencer Tracy, born on this day in 1900. Oh, he's so good. Inherit the Wind. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. All that stuff he did with Katharine Hepburn. Because he did a whole bunch of, we don't need to go into it. Anyway, Spencer Tracy, huge, a lion of Hollywood history. Spencer Tracy, born on this day in 1900. All right, born on this day in 1908. How about the lioness of Hollywood, Betty Davis, born on the same day as Spencer Tracy, which is kind of interesting because Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn, I almost went into it, but now I think I am. Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn, they did 10 movies together. They were a great team. Everybody loved them. Remember imagine Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan after When Harry Met Sally. They do just 10 more versions of that. Well, that was kind of what Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn were getting into, except they were also getting into each other. At least that was the rumor. Now there's a whole bunch more rumors. Like the rumors now are that Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn were both gay. So in order to like be each other's beards, they had to let there be this scandal that they were having an extramarital affair because they were both married. I don't know if Katharine Hepburn was, but I know Spencer Tracy was. It was a big shock. So that's Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn. Katharine Hepburn's arch enemy, like the woman that she competed with, the woman that she was Betty Davis. It's Betty Davis's birthday. 6 degrees of crazy things. Anyway. Born on this day. We're going to give you another one. Another lion of Hollywood. Bunch of years younger than Spencer Tracy, and then, a couple of years younger as well than Betty Davis. But how about born on this day in 1960, Gregory Peck? Tell me Spencer Tracy, Betty Davis, and Gregory Peck are all born on the same day. That's some Hollywood voodoo going on there, folks. Born on this day in 1933. How about Frank Gorshin? My Riddler. He's my Riddler. Yesterday we were talking about the Joker, how I think that's like one of those ringer roles. And by ringer role, I mean anybody who gets the role of the Joker is going to get great critical acclaim because they can do absolutely nothing and it's being as weird as possible and it won't look stupid because you're given a wide berth when you're portraying the Joker, so you can just go for it. It's nuttiness. The same can't be said for the Riddler. Yeah, the Riddler and the Joker are very similar, in that, isn't a riddle kind of a joke? Aren't they kind of? Anyway, Frank Gorshin, born on this day. He was my Riddler. He was the Riddler from the Batman TV series. Then Jim Carrey played the Riddler. Frank Gorshin was better. Yeah, I'm saying it. I'm saying because, sentimental attachment to my Riddler. I remember my Riddler. He invented that Riddler laugh. Or is it the Joker laugh? I don't know. It all blends together at this age. Frank Gorshin, born on this day in 1933. Oh, I skipped over one. I'm sorry. I skipped over Roger Corman, born on this day in 1926. Roger Corman basically invented the slasher flick. Roger Corman made low-budget, bloody, gory, freaky, weird, meatballs from outer space kind of films. Roger Corman, born on this day in 1926. Born on this day in 1937, Colin Powell, American general and politician. Happy birthday, Colin Powell. Wait, he's been dead for a while. Died in 2021. Got up in front of the whole world and lied. And then years later went, yeah, I'm sorry for that. Yeah, but you did it, man. Born on this day in 1951. This guy, this clown show. This is a dude who's an inventor. He creates things. He's created a lot of things. He's become incredibly wealthy. But it's like he wants to be Edison. It's like he wants to be known as like, I'm the Edison of my time. Unfortunately, I think Elon Musk has blown past him for that little, by the way, completely fabricated brand. But whatever, if, 100 years from now, if we look back at this time and go, who's the Edison? We'd probably land on. People probably give credit to Steve Jobs and stuff. But again, Steve Jobs didn't do anything. He just said, I got an idea. And then he made smart people do it. But it'll be Elon Musk. It'll be Elon. But this guy, Dean Kamen, it's like he wanted to, 20 years ago or so, he wanted to be like the world's most highly respected inventor and innovator and all that kind of stuff. And apparently, in order to make this a thing, he probably or did spend a whole bunch of money on PR because out of nowhere around 2000, the name Dean Kamen started appearing everywhere. And there were stories for a year about Dean Kamen's latest invention. The thing that Dean Kamen invented. Oh, and we're not going to tell you what it is. He's going to unveil it in front of the whole world. Dean Kamen. He had made a whole bunch of really big innovations in like medical technologies and stuff. So people are like, oh, it's going to be medical. But then they said, no, Dean Kamen's new invention has to do with revolutionizing personal transport. And we're like, whoa, flying cars. We're getting flying cars. That's what everybody thought. Everybody thought it was flying cars. This went on for a year. We're a month away from the scheduled big Dean. And they really, the PR that he paid for really made him a celebrity for about 9 months. And then, of course, the big reveal day came. And what was the invention that Dean Kamen had teased the world with for the better part of a year, promising to reinvent personal transportation? Well, He invented the Segway. You want to know how popular Segways were? They've been around for about 24 years now, and I've only been on one once. Just once. That's how they've... Some of you have probably never been on a Segway. You see people on Segways. Segways are now used. They were supposed to revolutionize they are going to change the way we get around. It's going to solve the energy crisis, all of this stuff. The only time that I see Segways now are like in movies or TV shows where they want to portray a character as eccentric and strange. If they're trying to portray a character as eccentric or strange, he's going to enter the scene on a Segway. Like, that's become the joke. Nice try. Nice try. Dean Kamen, you big douche. All right. Born on this day in 1962. Here's a sad one. Lana Clarkson. Lana Clarkson was born on this day in 1962. She was an actress. She was never famous. She did a couple of things. I think she had a scene in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I think she was also in like the Risky Business scene or something like that. Lana Clarkson. Why do we know her? Well, because she became famous when Phil Spector murdered her. Yeah, this is the woman that Phil Spector had murdered. Remember, she was working as the hostess at the, I don't know, what's the fancy room at the House of Blues? What do they call it? The Voodoo Room or something, whatever. I don't know. It's a bunch of douchebags up there. You want to come up to the Voodoo? No, I really don't, because it's nothing but D-bags up there. But okay, so she was the VIP person for the Hollywood, House of Blues. And that's how she met him. And he was drunk, and he's like, you just come home with me. And she's like, okay, weird little man who I'm not attracted to at all. But she went home with him, and it didn't end up well for her. Because he's a psychopath. He's a complete nut, and he'd been a complete nut for years. Phil Spector. He murdered Lana Clarkson. Not on this day, but on this day she was born. Happy birthday, beautiful angel. Born on this day in 1966. How about Mike McCready? Huh? Mike McCready's got a birthday. Pearl Jam. It's a Pearl Jam birthday. Guitar player for Pearl Jam. Also born on this day, 1973. Pharrell Williams. He of the Hat. That's all. That's all I know. I know Pharrell. Happy, right? Happy, right? Is that it? That was his song. He's another one of these dudes who I know he's super famous. Like, that dude's super famous. Really? Pharrell Williams coming to your party? That's a good party because he's super famous. I don't know what he does. No idea. That Happy song, that's it. Born on this day in 1973, Pharrell Williams. Born on this day in 1986, how about Charlotte Flair? One of the great female wrestlers. Daughter of Ric Flair. I watched a Ric Flair documentary recently. I don't know, it's on Hulu or something. I saw it. I was like, check this out, because I've met Ric Flair a couple of times. Charlotte Flair is his daughter. She's really pretty, and she's like a hot woman's wrestler. And they seem to have a nice relationship now. Like, they show, I saw a clip of like her winning a belt in the women's wrestling, and like, her dad, Ric Flair, was there. And he hugged her when she won the belt. It was all pretty and cute. And I'm like, oh, isn't that nice? But then you watch the documentary and you're like, oh man, there's a backstory there. He was a terrible father. He was like the worst dad. He didn't even acknowledge his kids basically until they were in their 20s and earning paychecks of their own. But now they seem good, and that's okay. Look, it's between them. They got to work that shit out. Who are we to judge? Born on this day in 1986, the beautiful Charlotte Flair. Born on this day in 1989, also the beautiful Lily James. She's an English accent. I get her confused. Lily James, she's an English actress. I don't know where she's from. I get her confused with, did she play Pam Anderson? Hold on. Is she the one who played, she's the one who played Pam Anderson. I get her confused with the chick, Khaleesi, from Game of Thrones. And then there's another one. I think I also get her confused with Johnny Depp's daughter, Lily Rose Depp. Right? All right, Lily James. Who does she play? She played Pamela. That's her. She's the one who played Pam Anderson in that Pam and Tommy movie on Hulu. She's like a fancy English actress. I guess she was in Downton Abbey or something. She's like a fancy English actress. And she played, big dummy Pamela Anderson in that Pam and Tommy movie. And I remarked at the time I'm watching it, it is so rare when you see somebody portraying somebody who is known to be a great beauty in film. Like the example is, somebody plays Marilyn Monroe in a film and you're watching it and you're like, that actress isn't even as pretty as Marilyn Monroe. There's a bit of a drop off for this portrayal. The exception to that, or not the exception to it, another good example of it was Jennifer Love Hewitt played Audrey Hepburn in a movie. It's like, look, Jennifer Love Hewitt is a solid 8, 9, but Audrey Hepburn's like off the charts. They got like a whole new thing for beauty when it comes to her facial structure and how so that was a weird one. But in the case of the Pam and Tommy movie, Lily James played Pamela Anderson, and Lily James was prettier than Pamela Anderson. She's like hotter than Pam. How do you get hotter than Pamela Anderson in 1986? Anyway, happy birthday. 1986, probably 1996. Pamela Anderson in 1986 was of legal age. I bet Pamela Anderson in 1986 was hot. Now that I think about it, because she's about 5 years older than I am. So Pam Anderson in 1986, she was probably 22. Yeah, it might be Apex Pam Anderson. I don't know. But we came to know her around 96 or so, I think, early 90s. Now I'm thinking about it, I don't even know how old Pam Anderson is. I just assume she's older than me because she seemed like. Anyway, moving on. All right, that's it, folks. Those are our birthday segment. Quarter 2 is now effectively in the books. Let's go on to the deads. These are the people who have died on this day. They claim that they died on this day again. I guess that's. I always say they claim it's their birthday, but I have no way of really knowing. I'm pretty sure we know these are the days these people died. Unless it's like, super long-timey ones. Okay, here's what we do. I mentioned somebody who died on this day. If I know, I'll just tell you how they died. Otherwise, it's just old person died. We talk about who died, and then we say, okay, here's what they're known for. Where'd they go? Heaven or hell? So let's get started. Dead on this day in 1964, preemptively going to hell because we have rules. Douglas MacArthur. That's right. I'll be back. Or no, that wasn't it. I shall return. That's what he was. He was I shall return or something. Never forget the Philippines or whatever. I don't know. Douglas MacArthur, he was a general. He's a wartime general. He did a lot of stuff. There's no way in hell he goes to heaven because generals, typically, I'm not putting them in heaven. They go to hell. Crazy, a crazy man. He was known to be a crazy man. They wanted him out of Washington. They stuck him over there in Southeast Asia because he was so popular with the American people. If he'd have come over, he'd have trumped this whole country back in 1946 if he could have. It was on this day in 1964. Douglas MacArthur dies. On this day in 1976, Howard Hughes, American pilot, engineer, and director, richest man in the world at a time, portrayed by Leonardo DiCaprio in The Aviator. That's a great movie. If you ain't seen The Aviator, that's a great movie. Howard Hughes died in 1976. He was a crazy man. He was a crazy man. He as he got older, he became more and more agoraphobic, I think is the thing where you can't go outside, you can't touch anything. He refused to shave and bathe and all that stuff because there were chemicals in the soaps. And this is like the wealthiest guy in the world. He owned the Las Vegas Hilton and he lived on the top floor. And there's like a story about Elvis, like Elvis played at the Las Vegas Hilton, and he was a big draw, but Howard Hughes, I don't know, Elvis made too much noise on the floor below him or something. I don't know, but Howard Hughes was basically like, he's got to go. And the casino's like, no, we can't get rid of Elvis. He's got to stay. Or maybe it was the opposite. I don't know. I should look into that story. Howard Hughes was a weird guy and he's going to hell. He's a weird guy. Did some weird things. Born super rich, Texas oil kid, went to Hollywood, became a producer, then started building planes. Just, laid pipe all over Hollywood for 15, 20 years. Every gorgeous starlet. They all found their way into Howard Hughes' bed at some point. So I'm putting him in hell. It seems like he had it way too easy for way too long. Do you know this dude? Do you know what Howard Hughes did? Check this out. This is, again, why we can't have flying cars, okay? Howard Hughes built a plane and then couldn't get, here's the story behind it. So there was a test pilot that was supposed to test this plane, this new Hughes aircraft plane, and the test pilot couldn't make it. So Howard Hughes went, I'll do it, because he's an idiot. And he jumps in the plane and he starts flying it, and it stalls out over Beverly Hills, and he crash landed into somebody's mansion house in Beverly Hills. Howard Hughes crashed his plane, got all burned up, got all screwed up. They say that that's the event that actually drove him a little bit nuts. But what the? Howard Hughes goes to hell. Was that covered in The Aviator? Yeah, well, of course it was. I think it was a big plot point in The Aviator. Let's see here. Who else is dead on this day? We've put Douglas MacArthur in hell. We've put Howard Hughes in hell. Okay. Previous generations had the day the music died. My generation, Gen X, we've got the day the music shot itself in the face with a shotgun in their attic above the garage. Kurt Cobain, dead on this day in 1994. Kurt Cobain, Nirvana, climbed up to that attic in the garage above his house there in Seattle and ended it all, left a note. Look, for me, I'm Gen X. I'm putting him in heaven. He was a tortured soul, man. He was a tortured soul. And then he married just Courtney Love, and, she couldn't have been easy. Imagine you're just sort of this gentle, quiet, junky soul. And then all of a sudden you're dealing 24/7 with Courtney Love in your face. I mean, geez. He didn't have it easy. She's rough. I just saw a clip yesterday. It's an old clip that needs to be established. It's a clip from like 20 years ago, but it was Courtney Love being interviewed, and man, was she destroying Dave Grohl. She was, I assume maybe that they've patched things up, but Courtney Love was like, it's not fair. I am Kurt's widow and I'm the mother of Kurt's heir. And why is Dave Grohl? Do you know what he did? Do you know what Dave Grohl did? Dave Grohl purchased a brand new Aston Martin the other day on his Nirvana Inc. credit card. Why don't I have a Nirvana Inc. credit card? And she started, I'm like, I don't know. He was in the band. And she's like, he never wrote anything. He never, He didn't have anything to do with that stuff. And now he's a Foo Fighter. He's making $5 million a night. And she's all complaining. I'm like, Jesus, Dave Grohl? If you're complaining about Dave Grohl, you really are a piece of shit. Because that dude is objectively, or whatever, one of the coolest guys in music. He doesn't seem like a dick at all. And you're just... And if he's got a Nirvana Inc. credit card, that seems to make sense since, there are only 3 guys in Nirvana. One of them's dead. He should have, Chris Novoselic should also have a Nirvana Inc. credit card. I might also suggest that maybe Courtney does as the widow of Kurt, when raising the child. I don't know. I'm just saying. But it was just really, what a pain in the ass that chick is. Anyway, Kurt Cobain, dead on this day, 1994. God, that was a big day. I remember that happened. I was like, what? What? I was working at the Loop in Chicago when this happened. I was like, what? It was unthinkable. It was like, the people who died were the other generation. Our parents' generation. They had Jimi Hendrix ODing in his prime. They had Janis Joplin. They had Jim Morrison. They went to Graham Parsons. They had all of that. Not us. We didn't have that. And then all of a sudden we did. Kurt Cobain. Yeah, he did. Jeff's like, he didn't kill himself. Yeah, he did. I've been up and down that story a million times. I've seen absolutely everything, and I do know all of those claims that he was killed, but no, he wasn't. He killed himself. It's pretty clear he killed himself. By the way, might I suggest Kurt and Courtney, second best documentary I've ever seen. I used to say it's the best documentary I ever saw, but then I saw The Kid Stays in the Picture. The Kid Stays in the Picture is the greatest documentary I've ever seen. Most fun, most enjoyable, loved it. The Kid Stays in the Picture. It's a great documentary. It's about Robert Evans in Hollywood and about how he just steamrolled Hollywood for like 10 years and then got caught up in a cocaine scandal. Anyway, he's a very interesting figure. That's why it's the number 1 favorite documentary I've ever seen. Number 2 is Kurt and Courtney. Kurt and Courtney's 25, 30 years old at this point. It is a very, I think it's Alex Gibney. And it's a very targeted investigation into what happened with Kurt Cobain. And that's where most of these theories about Kurt was killed and all that, most of these theories come from that. But if you watch that movie, you'll see that all of the evidence that they're presenting is being given to them by the sketchiest people on the planet. It's where we were introduced, Kurt and Courtney, to Courtney Love's father. Oh my God. If you think Courtney Love is bad, her dad, imagine, who LeVar Ball is? Of like Lonzo and LaMelo Ball's dad, who's just way too involved and seems like a crazy man in his own right. That's kind of how Courtney Love's dad is. Courtney Love's dad just seemed like the biggest con man ever. Sniffing that Cobain money that his little girl got her mitts in. He's looking for his. So he's trying to, anyway, it's crazy. I do not believe I have depression. I know what depression is. I understand completely what Kurt Cobain did and why he did it. He shouldn't have done it. There are other options for him, but I understand it. He wasn't murdered. It's fun to think about, though. Now we're going to move on to another person who died on this day in 2002, and this is freaking crazy. This is another one that is freaking crazy. Lane Staley, Alice in Chains. I'm putting him in heaven too because I loved Alice in Chains. Lane Staley, lead singer of Alice in Chains, died in his apartment in Seattle. Our grunge people are dropping. I guess the whole grunge movement started with the death of Andy Wood, so I probably shouldn't say that, Gen X didn't have their deaths. But Andy Wood wasn't famous when he died. And it's just retroactively looking at the chain of events. We're like, oh, so the Seattle scene really jumped off when Andy Wood died. And then the record companies were scrambling to find other bands because Andy Wood's band was the band that they were getting ready to launch. Lane Staley, Alice in Chains. Scott Weiland's dead too, right? Scott Weiland dead? I'm trying to think of all the Gen X 90s grunge rock stars that we've lost. Lane Staley was a junkie. He died in his apartment and his cats ate him. Ugh. When he was found like 4 days after passing away. And he had a bunch of cats and the cats got hungry. And that's what happens with cats. I don't know if that happens with dogs, but we know it happens with cats. Lane Staley and Kurt Cobain, two icons of Gen X and 90s grunge rock, dead on the same day. I wonder, no, couldn't have. I was going to say, I wonder if, Lane Staley did it on purpose, but he didn't. He didn't do it on purpose because he OD'd. So here's another giant of Hollywood. All right, a lot of giants of Hollywood being talked about today. Excuse me, that's a burp. Dead on this day in 2008, Charlton Heston. I'm putting Charlton Heston in heaven because damn dirty apes. I liked him. He's my Planet of the Apes guy. No! Remember that scene in Planet of the Apes where he's walking on the beach? And he comes to this like sand dune and he looks up at the sand dune and the camera is just on his face and his face just goes, no! No! And then the camera pulls out and you see what he's looking at. And he's looking at the Statue of Liberty, and it's just broken off and covered in weeds like it's been destroyed for 1,000 years. And then, of course, there's damn dirty apes. Loved him in Planet of the Apes. I really don't know what else about Charlton Heston. NRA guy, he got into all that stuff at the end of his life, but that's not enough to wash away the fact that he was in Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes meant a lot to me as a kid. It really did. All of them. Did you know there's like 10 of them? Oh, yeah, they started cranking those things out. There's a whole bunch of them. Charlton Heston, I think, is only in the first one. Then there's a bunch, like James Brolin's in one, I think. Planet of the Apes. That's why Chuck Heston is going to heaven. Spartacus? Is he also Spartacus? Or Moses? Moses' 10 Commandments? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know anything about Charlton Heston. Other than, my love for him in Planet of the Apes. Moving on, dead on this day in 2014. Here was a shock. And it's shocking because here's a comedian who died in 2014 that I didn't know. You know that the old show we did, Pugs and Kelly, we had this bizarre, creepy string of all of our favorite comics who were regulars on our show just passing away. Started very early on. Started with like our first comic friend, Freddie Soto, who just surprisingly passed away. Loved Freddie. He was on the precipice of becoming a very big star. He should have been what George Lopez got, but Freddie passed away first. Freddie was great. And then who else did we have that passed away? Of course, Mitch Hedberg. Sean Rouse passed away, but much later. Greg Giraldo. Oh, God. Mitch Hedberg was a big one because Mitch was a real good friend of the show and a regular, so was Sean. Anyway, John Pinette died on this day in 2014. I didn't know John Pinette. I did not know John. I'd never seen John Pinette. John Pinette never came through town. He never did interviews. I never had the opportunity to talk to John Pinette. We had Ralphie May, who, a lot of people were like confused him with John Pinette because they were both very big guys. Oh, Ralphie May. Oh. How many of our friends are going to die? I'm telling you. They're all dead. Well, how awful. John Panette, I'm putting him in heaven because I'm aware of John Panette's comedy. His comedy was all very much based on the fact that he was like, I don't know, maybe 500 pounds, 500 pounds. He was big. I mean, he was really big, dangerously big. Probably, you know, his premature death in 2014. Probably, how old was he? Holy cow, 30. Hold on, 30, 44. Is he 50? He died at 50? Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, I think he probably died from being that heavy and, you know, all that. But he was a nice comedian. He wasn't offensive. You know, he did, you know, well, unless you're Chinese. Because I think, didn't he do like Chinese cultural appropriation jokes about how he's banned from Chinese buffets? And then like he'd get roaring laughter from the crowd when he would imitate the Chinese lady. You go home, you know, eat. And, you know, now that's terrible. So maybe we put him in hell for that. Nope, not going to do it. He seemed like a nice kid. Nice dude. John Panette, dead on this day in 2014. See, we worked our way through that one. All right, guys, now let's move into quarter four. Quarter four is where we do all the hot topics, headlines, current events, everything people are talking about today. I give it to you in a stream of consciousness style. But first, it is a reminder, we are now down to about $40. We're looking to make $40 to get across the finish line for this month. You folks are the ones who make this show go. I get up and do it absolutely every day, so thank you so much for the continued support. I think $40 is doable. See if we can get it. I did not think when the show started, I did not think that it was doable to get to our goal. But then April comes in, drops a bomb right as the show is beginning. And now we're into $40. So if you want to drop a little something in the Venmo Cash App, that'd be great. Appreciate you. Moving on. I hate doing that part of the show, but I think you guys know that. All right, let's talk about all the things that are trending, all the things that are happening. First, let me say hi. Jeff in the chat room. I'm calling him Jeff because I've been assured that Guadalupe is actually our boy Jeff. Jeff says cats will start eating you right away. Dogs will wait a few days. I like to think that too. I don't know. But I think, yeah, right. Dogs love us. Like dogs will be like, man, I don't want to eat him. What if he's sleeping? Right. But I think cats are just looking for a moment. Like even if we weren't dead, like if you were like in an iron lung, not that anybody's in an iron lung, but if you were like in an iron lung in your living room, and there was like a cat stand next to your iron lung. Iron lung is a thing that, you know, immobilizes your entire body and you have to lay on your back and it's just your head that sticks out of it. It's the way people with severe respiratory issues used to have to treat it. I think also polio kids got stuck in iron lungs. But if you were like in an iron lung and the cat was just sitting there, you had a cat on one side and a dog on the other side, the cat would blind you. The cat would just at some point go, I bet I could carve his eye out. And the cat would go just to see if it could do it. Meanwhile, the dog would probably just rest his little head on your neck nape. But that is an interesting conversation. So what would it take? How long would it take for a dog? How hungry would your dog have to be before it starts to eat you? And I guess the answer is much hungrier than your cat. The cat probably isn't even hungry. Your cat's just looking for an opportunity. Let's keep going here. All right, first story. Let's talk about this. We got a lot of big things, and we're going to run through the top 3 stories because, you know, it's egghead stuff. It's like the big headlines that you can get all the information on if you want to go somewhere else. But I just give them to you so you know that I'm actually doing the due diligence and putting a show together. We spend time on the stupid stories, the ones that are fun. All right, right out of the blocks here, we've got a war, incoming war. CIA is saying we are within 48 hours of a massive retaliation against Israel by Iran. Everybody's got their fingers crossed that this doesn't happen. Now, this is, of course, in response to earlier in the week, Israeli forces bombed in Syria. They bombed the Iranian consulate in Syria. They blew it up real good. Tribute to Joe Flaherty. They blew it up and they killed a whole bunch of like top-ranking Quds forces generals with Iran, like big dudes, like big important dudes with big followings. So Iran is supposedly absolutely irate, and it's Israel, right? So all the radicals in Iran are like, you got to do something. You can't let Israel get away with this because we've killed their people before. Like we've taken out like, you know, Iranian leaders that we believed had ties to terrorism and all that stuff, and they ain't done nothing. Because they're like, but it's America. Well, we don't want to do that. Israel is different. Israel, they've just been like, you know, Iran is like, don't threaten us with a good time. They want to go after Israel. So the CIA is very concerned about this, as are other intelligence agencies around the world. They have set a timeline of 48 hours. Now, that was yesterday. So by my calculations, around 5 o'clock, around dinner time tonight, it'll be 24 hours. By dinner time tomorrow, 48 hours will be up. So we'll see if the CIA intelligence reports are right. Who knows? Also, Biden and Bibi, they talked yesterday. Remember, I told you about how we're giving like 2,000 more missiles to the Israelis? And they ain't got to take on that. This whole thing, way complicated, way more complicated than I'm really interested in. All I am is just horrified by the images that I, as a layman, am being forced to see. I don't know. But Biden talked to Bibi. The Biden administration is sending more bombs over there, but apparently Biden and Bibi got into it. And Biden was like, look, dude, you are really dancing on the line here. I know that you know that I got your back and that we're one of your best allies and all of that good stuff. But holy shit. And this Biden apparently said it's election year, man. And the people, the tone of the people in this country are not solidly in the corner of Israel. Not anymore. Isn't that interesting? I mean, just recently, it was like the Israeli lobby controls everything in America. Everybody in America is solidly pro-Israel. No, turns out that's not the case. Turns out there's a whole lot of people that are like, not pro-Israel. Israel's acting like thugs. That's interesting. It's interesting to see because I didn't think that was, I thought the Israeli lobby and the Israeli presence in America was absolutely immovable. But it has moved. So much so that even the right, the right, the people that you were always thinking, well, they're in the pocket of the Israelis. The right is also very heavily divided on the whole Israel-Gaza thing. That's crazy. All right. What else do we have? Earl. Let's talk about Earl. And by Earl, I mean oil, the juice that fuels the world. Literally. Literally. That wasn't a metaphor. That's real. Oil is at above $90, and I'm surprised it took them this long. It's going to go up to 100, and that means we're going to be paying $4 or $5 a gallon again. That's coming. Here we go. Election year. Now, there are some people that are saying the Arabs are doing this because the Arabs don't like Biden. Oh, stop it. That's not, I'm sure they don't like Biden, but that's not. Honestly, as someone in the middle who doesn't like either Biden or Trump, that's not a bad thing, in my opinion. If the Saudi Arabian royal family doesn't like you, I'm thinking that's good. That's good. That bespeaks more of you than anything else I could hear. Oh, the Saudis, they hate me because I'm tough on them, or whatever they are. I don't know. But oil is going up to 90, so that's going to suck for us. So get ready for that. They're saying the troubles in the Middle East are why the oil is going to go. This is happening in an area that has no oil. There's no oil. There's no oil here. Yes, but we're afraid. We're scaredy cats now when we're in when the shipping lanes have been compromised by Houthi rebels. And okay, I guess that one's true. I don't know what I want to be mad, but hey. The other big news today, jobs. The jobs report came out. I always tell you, I caution you, just, don't pay all that much attention to this because it seems like they can manipulate these numbers to say anything. They could say, well, the jobs were down, but that's a good thing because we were expecting them to be way down. Yay for us. This administration is killing. But no, you really can't do that with this because this job growth is massive. This is like a really big one. And people are like, didn't see that coming. Job growth in the United States zoomed in March as payrolls jumped by 303,000 and unemployment dropped to 3.8. Jobs increased 303,000 for the month. That means 303,000 more jobs, full-time jobs were added for the month. And that is well above the estimate. They thought it was only going to be 200,000. They were like 100,000 off. So I don't know. I guess that's a good thing. I'm not going to get into it. Whatever. Jobs are good. Of course, gas is about to be $5. It's a good thing people getting jobs because gas is about to be $5 a gallon. And as we reported yesterday, the Dollar Tree's raising everything to $1.50. So good. Let's employ people and then just keep raping us with prices. All right, so we can move on from the jobs report. I hate to do the jobs report, but I do it every month. Good or bad, whatever, we got to mention it. As we were going on today, I actually saw the first report of this. Jim Acosta was very befuddled this morning when this started to come in. We got an earthquake in New York. That's right. Now, I've seen everything. It was originally it was reported as a 4.6. Then they changed it to a 4.8. Now I see the AP is reporting this earthquake in Western New York to be a 5.5. So I don't know. I don't know if we have any solid information on it, but let me do this real quick because that is an evolving story that's happening right now. So let me see what the latest is. Like, I haven't seen if there's any damage. I haven't seen. Okay, so now like Google is saying it's a 4.8. Did anybody die? I mean, a bunch of people I saw on Twitter, I'm in New York and an earthquake just happened. I'm like, okay, all right. Let's see. We'll do past hour. Let's see what the latest is. New York Times. 4.8. Oh, okay. It looks pretty much now like everybody has settled on 4.8. Except the New York Post. The New York Post says, oh no, that's an aftershock. There's a 2.0 aftershock that occurred. All right. Rare 4.8 magnitude earthquake rattles the Northeast. Man, like, is there an earthquake season? Been talking about this the last couple of days because we had the terrible earthquake. That was a 7.4 that happened in Taiwan earlier in the week. And then as we go through the antecedently on this day segment, we've noticed that this week there were a whole bunch of throughout history significant earthquakes during this week. And I jokingly said, it's earthquake season, earthquake weather. And I dismissed that. I'm like, it's not earthquake weather. Earthquake's going to, but I don't know. Am I wrong? Like, is there something about this month? Is it this month? Is it, I know we all pretend it's the same month, but it's like the same season in Taiwan. Isn't that the other side of the world? Aren't they getting ready for winter over there? I don't know how it all works. I need to travel more. No, I don't. I don't need to travel more. Let's see. So anyway, we had a 4.8 earthquake rattling New York City. I don't know if we got any good video of it. I haven't seen anything like buildings shaking and stuff. The rare earthquake that struck northern New Jersey Friday. Okay, now they're saying northern New Jersey. I saw it as western New York, but I guess maybe there is a line there. Maybe it's on the New Jersey side. An earthquake that struck northern New Jersey Friday was the third strongest to strike the state, this according to CNN analysts. The Friday morning earthquake also marked the strongest since 1783. Well, that ain't good. I don't like that. What else is coming? It's more than 240 years ago. Two 5.1 magnitude tremblers are the only stronger quakes in the state of New York. And one of those happened in 1755 and the other in 1783. Now, here's what I would say about the 5.1 magnitude tremblers from 1755 and 1783. I don't put any trust in that number. That's a 1755 number. There's no way to get an accurate reading on exactly the magnitude. That's a guesstimate at best. So the quake is the third strongest to hit the northeastern United States in the past 50 years and the 10th strongest of all time in the region. Earthquakes in New Jersey and the region are rare. There have only been 24 earthquakes of the 2.5 magnitude or greater in New Jersey since the year 1700. Everything seems fine. It says all aspects of New York City transit system are operating safely. There is no obvious damage. Here is, what does this say? I want to emphasize those were designated to withstand much stronger seismic impact than what we experienced today. So the mayor of New York is saying, yeah, these buildings can handle whatever it is, 4.8 or wherever we're going. All right, so there you have it. That was the big shaking news that happened today. There was an earthquake in New York City. Again, though, developing ... I mean, we don't know. We don't know what's happening here. The buildings have cracks, Rashee Rice is a story that we've been following here every day. Rashee Rice, SMU product, Kansas City Chiefs, second round draft pick, went joyriding just 1 week ago tomorrow, Saturday, up and down the Dallas. I was going to say Dallas North. It wasn't the Dallas North. Dallas North is that way. They were driving 75, which is that way. I'm right in the middle of the two. I'm actually much closer to the Dallas North, but 75 is right there. As a matter of fact, I'll be driving 75 North today as I pick up my son. Boys weekend, long snapper weekend. We're going to do that all weekend. Rashee Rice, here's the breaking news. Remember yesterday we read his statement that was, I guess, written by his people, but, attributed to him on Instagram, where he said, I take full responsibility for my part in the accident. His part. And I questioned that. I said, oh, that's carefully worded. His part. Well, what is your part? Because the follow-up is, that's fine. What is your part? Is your part that you loaned the car to your friends? Is that the part you played? Because come on, be more specific. Well, he's been more specific. Rashee Rice was driving, ladies and gentlemen. He has admitted that he was driving to Dallas police, and his lawyer, Royce West, has echoed this in a statement released earlier this morning, in which he says he never denied it. He was asked straight up by the Dallas Police Department if he was driving, and he said, yes, he was driving. So there you go. As that story develops, ... He's cooperating. Now he's cooperating once he had time to lawyer up, sober up, take a shower so he didn't smell like weed while he's talking to cops. My friend E, who is completely sober on everything, which people who know E, they're like, what? He's sober? Because E used to be a big pothead, but he's not. And basically anybody who knows him and hears me saying this, they're like, yeah, no, seriously, it's pretty remarkable how he is completely it's been a year or two now since he's completely sober. He does, however, own a gigantic weed farm up in Oklahoma. And he came over. I told you about our adventure going into the crawl space. He came over to the house to help me with the crawl space issue. After driving 5 hours from his farm in Oklahoma, he had been at the weed farm in Oklahoma for like 5 hours or for a couple of days. And he drove back 5 hours, drove straight to the house and helped me. And as he walked in the room, I'm like, dude, you freaking reek of weed. He goes, yeah, I've been standing in a greenhouse surrounded by weed. I'm like, you just reek of it. It's like, I gotta take a shower. So just imagine, I have to assume that the young guys that were involved in the street racing, they probably all reeked of weed and they had to go home and change their clothes and do all those things. But now, just rest assured, Rashee Rice is taking full responsibility. Not then. No, not then he did. But now he is. He's a good boy. Let's see here. Story out of California. There's a lawsuit going on about Tesla and their autopilot system, and an engineer for Tesla who was killed while engaging the autopilot. This story goes back a couple of years. A Tesla engineer was using the autopilot while he was driving down the road, and the autopilot just turned into a wall at like 80 miles an hour, and he's dead. And now his family is, of course, suing Tesla. They're like, yeah, the autopilot doesn't work. Why? You're going to be an early adopter on autopilot? Oh, man, you get what you deserve. You get what you deserve. I will not use the autopilot function on any vehicle that I drive until that has been available and widely deemed a success for at least a decade. I'm not just going to go like, I'm going to catch some Z's and put it on autopilot. No way. So this guy is doing that. And the family's like, hey, we're suing Tesla. And Tesla is countering with, he was playing a game. Apparently this dude, Tesla is saying, was on his phone. He was on his phone while the car was in autopilot. And had he not been on the phone, he would have been able to make the adjustments. I'm like, what do you mean the adjustment? But that doesn't change the fact that the autopilot didn't work. Like the autopilot drove into a wall. It's not supposed to do that. Now you're telling me that now it's incumbent upon him as the driver who purchased the autopilot version or upgrade of the car. I don't know if it's an upgrade, but he's using the autopilot that you sold him and it doesn't work. And you're saying that he should have known it doesn't work. And so look, I don't think it's a good idea to be playing games while you're on autopilot anyway, but would you have a problem if your pilot in an airplane was on autopilot? But again, I guess that's different. He's in the air. There's not other incoming lanes of planes coming at him where he's got to stay frosty. I don't know. That's kind of a dick thing. Like, Tesla is also now by the family attorneys being accused of collaborating with Apple to get information about data being used by the driver at the time of the accident. And apparently Tesla now has evidence that he was using gaming data or data consistent with somebody gaming. And then they said that like over the past couple of weeks, every day on his way to work, he would use the autopilot. And then there is also consistent data usage that suggests that he was gambling or not gambling, gaming. So I don't know, but isn't that what you're supposed to be able to do? Isn't that the allure of autopilot that you're supposed to be able to check out? I don't know. We'll see. Diddy is trending. P. Diddy is trending. Why? Because somebody who works with P. Diddy, one of his former bodyguards, is saying that, Diddy got tapes. Oh, yeah. Diddy had secret recordings. He'd throw these sex parties. By the way, the sex parties which first sort of became topic for conversation publicly about 6 or 7 months ago when there was a story about TD Jakes, the Dallas-based evangelist or whatever. There was a story about TD Jakes being accused of participating in homosexual sex parties with P. Diddy. And we all went, well, that's a crazy story. There's no way that can happen. Apparently, no. Apparently, no. Now we know that there were sex parties that Diddy was involved, that Diddy would throw and that he would preside over. And these sex parties, apparently, according to P. Diddy's attorney, P. Diddy's bodyguard, were filmed. And he says that Diddy doesn't just have celebrities. It's not just celebrities who should be concerned about having been filmed while they were participating in a Diddy orgy. But there's politicians need to be concerned that there were politicians there. He even says there were princes. Oh, it's not just celebrities, it's politicians and it's princes. And I'm like, princes? You mean Harry? That's the only one. Like, what other prince is there? Nobody cares. The only prince anybody cares about is William and Harry. They're the only ones we know. And we also know that there are pictures of Harry partying with Diddy. So what you're saying is that Harry participated in a sex party. That's very interesting. Here, we're going to let you hear it from him himself. This is him. He went on, what is this, a podcast or something? Let's see. I'm going to let you see this just so you can determine whether or not you think this guy is credible or not. There we go. All right, let's watch this. This is Diddy's old bodyguard talking about all of the tapes that the feds must now have. Wait, let me make it bigger. Yep, got to make it bigger. Otherwise, what's the point, right? Here we go.
I don't think it's only celebrities going to be shook. He had politicians in there. He had princes in there. He also had a couple of preachers in there.
You personally, you think they got tapes?
Well, my personal opinion that if Lil Rob could be trusted and his statements are true, they got him.
Oh, they got him. All right, so now we got a whole nother Epstein thing, right? We're all sitting around waiting to hear about the Epstein names and the Epstein tapes and the Epstein this and the Epstein that. Got to be honest, more interested in the Diddy stuff. More interested. You know why? Because I assume the fish in the barrel at the Diddy parties are going to be far more interesting than the ones that were with Epstein. I think that Epstein, what are you looking? You looking for Clinton? What, is that Clinton? What if Trump? Is that who Trump was on the island? Is that what you're looking for? Nah. Diddy's going to have people who are, Diddy's going to have celebrities, he's going to have comedians, he's going to have princes. Epstein could just draw from the people that he knew. Diddy parties, everybody wants to hang out with Diddy, or at least they did, because remember, that was cool. Diddy's white parties and all that stuff. He was the guy. That was a tough invitation to get. So I imagine, pound for pound, the name value of people who are going to be shown in these videos acting, like degenerates, I think pound for pound, those names are going to be far more fascinating than the ones we'll get from Epstein. With Epstein, we'll get a bunch of hedge fund managers and bankers and stuff, and maybe a rando celebrity. What is Aziz Ansari doing on Epstein Island? Like that. But no, Diddy, I think is just going to be one big name after another. Boom, boom, boom. Looking forward to that. Diddy vids, hopefully coming soon. Let's see. What else do we have here? Okay. How about this? Let's talk about, I'm going to say something that I don't think any of us has said in years. I'm going to mention the name Brangelina. Remember that? That was a great one. That was a great mashup of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. They were married for a while. Actually, I think they were only married 2 years, but they were together like 16. Like they got married in like 2014 and then filed for divorce in like 2016, something like that. But they met in like 2002 or something. I don't know. They go way back. They started adopting kids. They had their own kids. They got a bunch of kids. They got like 6 kids. I think they got three on their own, 3 biological little demons. And they're going to be demons. Could you imagine having the genetic makeup, just your shell, just the shell, just your edifice, just whatever facade you're going to be showing the world? It's completely made up of Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt DNA. Oh my God. Those kids have got to be gorgeous or really ugly. They're either going to be like super gorgeous or, oh my God, everything sort of counteracted each other. And now look at them. It's like a Don Swayze situation. Like you ever seen Don Swayze, Patrick Swayze's brother? That's a funny thing. You look at Patrick and Don Swayze standing next to him. You look at Patrick and you're like, oh my God, is he handsome? And then you look at Don and you're like, what happened? And they look alike. You totally believe they're brothers. Like, oh, those dudes look exactly alike, except one is really handsome and the other looks like a funhouse spook. I don't know. It's just weird. Anyway, Angelina and Brad, they got kids. Why are they trending? Okay, so here's what's going on. So they own a vineyard together in Italy. Or France, I don't know, whatever, doesn't matter. They own a vineyard together, and Angelina Jolie wants out of her part of the vineyard. So she's like, I want the money for the vineyard. And apparently Brad Pitt is like, I'm not going to let you have the money for the vineyard. I'm not going to sell it out to you or whatever. There was agreement that he was going to sell, and now he's not going to sell. So now they're back in court over this stupid vineyard thing. But what's happening is, well, let me read it to you. It was in something that was filed yesterday. Angelina Jolie once again brings up all of these terrible things that Brad Pitt was accused of doing. Angelina Jolie claims Brad Pitt had history of physical abuse before the 2016 plane incident. 2016 plane incident is basically where they decided to split up. It looks like Brad, they were on a private plane with all their kids, and Brad was, not having it, and he started screaming and yelling, and he was blaming everything on Angelina Jolie, calling her stupid, and apparently he abused her and all that. And I don't mean to be dismissive of it, but I'm trying to remember what the details of this story was. What I do remember is at some point, Brad Pitt, started screaming at Angelina Jolie, saying, this is all your fault. It's all because of you. You ruined everything. And then one of their children screaming in response, no, Dad, it's you. You're the one. And now that was reported by like a stewardess who was on the plane. Like that was reported by people who were witnesses to it. But it was a very ugly family moment, probably not unlike a lot of the uglier moments that we've all experienced with family. That's what family does. We scream at each other, have terrible moments. Actually, I wonder if I'm broken. My family, very close-knit family, very tight, but also very small. All we did is that's how we communicate is by screaming at each other. I think it's an Irish thing. It's like you just go, get out of here now. You just scream at each other. And I used to think that's normal. Like I'd say, yeah, like when you're telling your mom to fuck off, like that. And people have been horrified. I mean, what? What do you mean? You're telling like, what? I don't think it means what you think it means. It's just, how we communicate. Anyway, we were screamers in our family. And it was very normal to me. And the important thing about being screamers, if you're a screamer family, the important thing is that once the screaming's over, you have to walk away from it and everything has to go back to normal almost immediately. Otherwise, that's untenable. Like people can't be butthurt. Like you screamed at me 2 hours ago. You got to bounce right back. You got to be fine again. Everybody's got to be fine. The dude who screams has got to be fine. And nobody goes, you need to apologize to everybody for the tone that you don't do that. Just let it go. Work it through. That's how drunk Irish Catholic families have been doing it for years. And maybe you got teen brothers. They can fight it out on the lawn. That's regular. Let them fight. Let them fight it out. However, here's the new stuff with Angelina Jolie. We know about the 2016 plane incident where they're screaming at each other. Angelina Jolie has claimed that the infamous 2016 plane incident isn't the only time that her ex-husband Brad Pitt allegedly abused her. Per docs obtained on Thursday, Jolie's legal team has made this allegation in an attempt to prove that Pitt refused to allow his wife to sell her portion of their Chateau Miraval French winery unless she signed an expansive NDA. So, Angelina Jolie, a little cash strapped. Why wouldn't she be? She's probably got a lifestyle that she's become accustomed to, and she is no longer the Angelina Jolie of 2005. She's the Angelina Jolie of 2024. I don't know how much work she's getting. Brad Pitt, on the other hand, still just... Because remember, handsome men as they age only get more work. Beautiful women as they age, they don't get any more work. Not saying it's right, saying that's how it is. So Angelina Jolie is looking, sell off some of the assets. So she wants out of the winery. And Brad Pitt's like, all right, I'll sell you the winery. I'll sell you your half. I'll buy your half of the winery, but you got to sign this NDA. And now Angelina Jolie is filing a suit saying he's making me sign an NDA because he did all kinds of terrible things and he won't. So that's what's happening with these two. All right. Let's see here. Going back to the Rashee Rice thing, Peter Lufkin says weed won't make you drive like that. No, it won't. No, but other things will make you drive like that. Arrogance, a need to show off, that kind of thing. Those are the things that make you drive like that. What the weed does is make you not be able to react when you need to react quicker. But yeah, no, it's not the reason he was driving like that. But because he was on it, he wasn't able to react. That's what I would counter to what Peter is saying. Here's another weird story. I saw this one. This is another Hollywood story. There's a Game of Thrones actor. His name is Joseph Gatt. Let me show you this guy. Holy cow. I'm going to show you this guy, and I'm going to tell you what he's accused of. And when you look at him, you're going to be like, yep, he did it. But here's the thing. Judging books by its cover, are you? He didn't do it. He apparently didn't do anything wrong. As a matter of fact, it seems that everything that he did was perfectly above board and normal, and yet some overzealous police looking to prosecute pedophiles, they went after this guy and they basically ruined his life. He had a whole bunch of jobs on other shows and everybody ditched him. He lost his management. He lost this. He lost that. He was accused of having inappropriate relationships over text or over digital transmission with an underage girl. They announced it. They arrested him publicly. He was embarrassed. And then the police did the investigation. And then the police did the investigation and found out they didn't do anything. And that the person that brought these charges, look, I'm not going to criticize, somebody, but is going through some stuff. So now he's suing the Los Angeles Police Department saying, I lost 3 movies. I lost my agent. He lost all of this stuff. But let me show you this guy because I can see why the police went, yeah, let's not even look into this. He looks like a pedophile. Let's go get him. Here he is. Joseph Gatt, Game of Thrones actor, scary looking dude. He's got that thing, that affliction where you can't grow hair. I don't know what it's called. I know a bunch of people like that. NoHo Hank from Barry, who is a fantastic young actor. Very funny, very good. Not just funny, but also very good. He has that as well. You see, you can't get eyebrows. Can't grow a beard. Your head is like, by the way, I tell you, as someone who shaves his head, that's a beautifully shaven head. And he's not even shaved because no hair grows there. All right, let me show you a picture of him, how you might know him. He played the Fen from Game of Thrones. Where are the pictures? Well, okay, never mind. Forget about it. Was that Deadline? Yeah, that was it. So he played the Fen. Do you remember the Fens from Game of Thrones? The Fens were the ones that had like worms under their skin and they were cannibals and nobody wanted to deal with the Fens. But when the war broke out against the ice zombies or whatever they were called, when the war broke out, alliances had to be made. So they made, friends with the Thens, and the Thens came and fought alongside the normal people, even though they were despicable cannibals. He was the leader of the Thens. He was the guy with the worms or the veins popping out. Just gross. Scary ass dude. It's been almost 2 years since Joseph Gatt was arrested by the LAPD on a now dismissed charge of engaging in online sexually explicit communication with a minor. The Game of Thrones actor is taking on the police, the city of Los Angeles, and the Office of District Attorney George Gascon. He's filed a $40 million suit on Thursday in federal court in Los Angeles. Gatt alleges that he was falsely labeled a serial pedophile. To that end, he and his attorneys have put before the court a sordid saga of a 16-year-old obsessed fan, a botched police probe, and now former deputy LADA with a supposed personal animosity against the actor. Okay, so here's what happened. This dude, Joseph Gatt, the actor, Joseph Gatt had a fan, and they paid for a cameo birthday call. Those, cameo. It's like, hey, it's me, the creepy guy from Game of Thrones. Just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. They do that. It's the way these like D-level stars or whatever you can even call a D-level person a star. It's the way these D-level folks, you make a little side scratch, So nothing wrong with that. After he did it, he then started to receive emails from the 16-year-old girl that he wished a happy birthday to, who was just, described to him as being a diehard Game of Thrones fan who really liked the Thens, which is weird. A 16-year-old girl who was drawn to the cannibal weird people, but okay. And that was it. And that was it. She apparently sent him stuff that he didn't respond to. And unfortunately, her mom found what she sent and the police were contacted, and then she made up a whole story. And he's like, what? He's like, it was a cameo. They paid me. The only reason I know these people is, so it's really, when you look at the details of this, it was really a mistake. And the police absolutely dropped everything. Once the police figured out that, oh, wait, this isn't a story and this little girl needs help. This girl is, making some things up here. Once that became clear to the police, they just dropped it. Of course, on the day they arrested him, they hadn't done all of that. They just arrested him very publicly and put out, we got another actor. We got another pedophile actor. I mean, he's an odd looking guy and he's very scary. And I can see how you might, want to put that picture up is, look at the monster we got off the streets, right? Look at this scary pedophile that we arrested. But holy shit, he gonna get this money too. He gonna get the 40 million. The screen wasn't showing anything? Is that true? Let me try this again. Hold on. Because that sucks. That can't be something. Okay. Ugh, having so much trouble. Okay. All right. All right, now chat room, tell me if you can see that. Because I just did the exact same thing. I'll wait. As a matter of fact, I'll have a sip of coffee while you people tell me if you can see the picture that I'm sharing right now. Thank you, April. Appreciate April. April is just a tireless producer of this show. She always lets me know these things. I just wish I paid closer attention to the chat room so that we wouldn't have to waste 10 minutes before I see it. Now we see it. Okay. All right. Thank you, April. All right. I don't know what was different about it, but please, if I do that again, let me know. That's April helping out the show. All right, moving on. Joseph Gaddy suing the city of Los Angeles for $40 million in what looks like a hatchet job of look, man, you want to come after me like on some trumped up charges for something, you want to call it embezzling, you want to whatever. And then if you screw it up, fine, I'm going to sue you for, screwing up my life and all that kind of stuff. But it ain't as bad as if you come at me and they accused him of being a serial pedophile. All right, are we back? All right, are we back? Let me know if we're back. Yeah, for some reason the internet completely dropped off, and now we've only got 2 bars. I think that they're moving the internet around in the house. As is their right. Are we okay now? Let me know if we're okay now, and then we'll get started. We'll restart. Okay, we're back. April says we're back. Sally said, yep. Okay, better now. All right, moving on. We're continuing on. We're rolling through here. Let's see. Oh, here's Any fans of Elizabeth Hurley? I'm a big Elizabeth Hurley fan, or at least I was. Every time I think about Elizabeth Hurley, I just go back to Hugh Grant. Elizabeth Hurley was, especially in like 1995 or whatever, one of the most beautiful women on the planet. Good Lord. He's got Elizabeth Hurley waiting for him at home, and he stops off and he picks up some crack hooker. Never got it. So anyway, that embarrassing. Is that embarrassing? Ladies, would that be embarrassing to you if you were Elizabeth Hurley? Because then she stayed with him for a while. Wouldn't like I don't know if I was a woman, I don't know if I'd be embarrassed by that. I'd be angry at him for being such an idiot, but I don't think I as a woman would be like, especially if you're Elizabeth Hurley, who is a solid 10 out of 10. Like Elizabeth Hurley probably isn't like, well, she's not more attractive than me. Divine Brown, remember her? Anyway, Elizabeth Hurley, she got married. She moved on. She married a billionaire because, of course, she did. Some British billionaire, some guy's probably a lord, some part of the landed gentry, if you will, over there. She married him. I got a bunch of kids. I got one kid who grew up to be a producer director. His name is Damien. I think it's Damien Hurley. And Damien Hurley is making a movie. And guess who he is cast to star in this movie? He's cast his own mother. Isn't that adorable? Damien Hurley, who I'm sure is normal, cast his mother to be the star in his first film. And that's just great with me. What role is she playing? She's playing a lesbian nymphomaniac. He's got a movie. He wrote a part for a lesbian nymphomaniac who has all of these very provocative, very sexy scenes. Okay, I think it froze again. Hold on. Son of B. Just giving her a ride. Okay, it looks like maybe we're back. So it's just the picture that goes. You can still hear me. I guess that's good. Ugh. Hold up. Let me show you this. So I want to show you Damien Hurley, the dude who cast his mom. Well, here we'll show you some of these pictures. He cast his mom, Elizabeth Hurley, to play a lesbian, nymphomaniac in his first new big movie. Although it can't, honestly, if I'm in this, probably isn't nice of me to say, but it's not a big movie. It's not a big, if it stars Elizabeth Hurley in 2024, I'm sorry, it's not a big movie. She's very gettable. She's very easily gettable. She doesn't have a whole lot of work. Okay, so here's a still from it. That's not a still, it's actually a piece of a video. So the son, that's weird, right? Like, I don't need to see any. Okay, so anyway, there's that. There's a picture there of him directing her, and there's a picture of him, totally normal. Him directing his mom making out with, some young girl. It's also weird. So you're probably wondering, what's this dude look like? Well, there he is. That's what he looks like. That's Damien Hurley with his mom. I'm just telling you, that looks like a creepy ass dude who has some weird mom fetish thing going on. And I can't really blame him, because if your mom is Elizabeth Hurley, boy, that's got to be confusing, right? Because objectively, she's gorgeous. And even now at 58 years old, she's gorgeous, but he's probably 20. So she was super gorgeous when he was like really little and growing up. She's still super gorgeous. He's a little bit, it's just weird. Weird. And I would like to say Hollywood creepy, but these are not Hollywood people. They're actors. He's a director, but they're British. They're over there in England. This is a film he's making in England. So, you want to talk like the Hollywood creeps and they're all sexually weird. Dude, actors are just weird. Actors and actresses, that whole thing. Have you ever hung out with your high school theater team? Those people, go to a theater party, man. I did stage crew. This was fun. A bunch of us on the football and wrestling teams, we signed up for stage crew because it turned out that if the team made it downstate, the theater team, theater competition. It's weird. It's actually pretty cool, but it was weird. Like high school theater departments compete against each other. And if you were to go downstate, you got to stay at this really cool hotel for a weekend and all that. And it was fun. And our theater team was really good. Like our theater team was like one of the best in the state. And we always went downstate. So a whole bunch of us on the football team, they needed crew to break down sets and move off the stage and all that stuff. So we all went down. Oh my God. And we partied with the theater people. Now, these are people that I was probably in high school with for 4 straight years. They were people I saw walking in the hallways. You know, they of the blue hair, which isn't weird now, but in 1986, that was really sketch. Combat boots, girls wearing black, just they were an interesting sort of subset of my regular high school class that I don't really know because they were the weird theater people. So we go down. Champaign is where we went. Champaign, Illinois, stayed in this nice hotel. And we go down there and we partied with these theater people. They were nuts. Their party was way nuttier than any like football backyard kegger that no one went. It was just crazy. They were crazy people. So, I don't know that it's necessarily indicative of Hollywood. I think it's all actors and actresses. I think they're weird by patrician standards, weird by, I don't know. They were very, we'll just say they're very out there. Like, for instance, in high school down there, I saw 2 girls kissing. This is 1986. It's 1986. I saw 2 girls. A girl from my high school started making out with another actress from another high school at this party. Never saw that before. I mean, it would be another 20 years before I would see that regularly. That was scandalous. Didn't care. Good for them. Hey, look, through today's lens, I'm like, good for them. But back in 1986 lens, it was like, hey, I didn't know she was a dyke. You'd say stuff like that. It was just different times. We evolve. That's the beauty of humanity. You learn, you grow, you have life experiences that change your perspective and your view on things. And that's part of it. People don't change. Man, that's a stupid thing that even stupider people say. People change every single day. They may not change the way you want them to, but people do change. People evolve. People get different. Moving on. Creepy ass Hurleys doing creepy ass movie stuff. Here's a story. How about the Chiefs? See the story about the Chiefs? This is of particular interest to us here in Dallas. The Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm watching this very closely because the Kansas City Chiefs are in the same sort of situation as my Chicago Bears. The Kansas City Chiefs need a new stadium. Kansas City Royals would also like a new stadium. We want a new stadium too. So the Kansas City Chiefs and the Kansas City Royals, instead of battling each other for taxpayer dollars, they decided, we're going to team up and we'll do something together. We'll create a whole complex with 2 stadiums. And, that seems like the 2 teams working together instead of working against each other to try and get their own stadium. Well, it went to a voter referendum and it did not pass. 58% of the citizens there in Kansas City, Missouri said no to stadium fundings, new stadium for the Chiefs and the Royals. Now, nobody's worried about the Royals because, quite frankly, nobody gives a shit about the Royals. But the Kansas City Chiefs are the 2-time defending NFL Super Bowl champion, which means they are an apex team. And this apex team is now shaking their little wand at the people of Kansas City and saying, we will make this team disappear. And where are they going to go? Where are they going to go? Could they be on the move? Could the Kansas City Chiefs be on the move? Yeah, I think they absolutely could be. And I'll tell you why. I don't know if you do this for one player or a team that's considered a dynasty that's only in the 2nd or 3rd year. Well, I don't know. If I guess we don't consider them a dynasty yet. If they rattle off one more Super Bowl, then they are absolutely a dynasty. But at this point, they're just repeat Super Bowl champions. Oh, wait, or is this the 3rd Super Bowl in like 5 years? I don't know. Whatever. My point is this. They have an outsourced they have an outsourced profile. Whereas typically a team from Kansas City, nobody else in the country would be interested in. They'd be like, Kansas City? Please. No. But it's the Chiefs and it's Mahomes and it's Kelsey. So the Chiefs, if they wanted to leave, they would probably have a lot of suitors. A lot of people would probably be interested. One person who is definitely interested is Dallas Mayor. What's his name? Brandon, I don't know. Let's call him Brandon Davis. Wasn't Brandon Davis the guy that filmed Paris Hilton, the sex tape? Let's pretend he's the mayor of Dallas. Okay. Brandon Davis, Paris Hilton's old boyfriend, the mayor of Dallas. He wants the Chiefs. He wants the Chiefs coming. He wants to bring them back because, as you know, the Kansas City Chiefs were originally, hold on. Do I have the Dallas story? Top choices, Dallas. Yeah. The Kansas City Chiefs were originally the Dallas Texans. Of course, now there's a Houston Texans. So if the Chiefs moved back to Dallas, their original home, they would have to be the Chiefs. They wouldn't be able to be the Texans. But you get my point. So there is some tie to the Dallas area. The Chiefs were run out of town. It was the AFL NFL merger, NFL AFL whatever, the merger. When the merger occurred, part of the deal was that Hunt would move his Dallas-based team. He'd move him up to another market, and he would leave the Dallas market solely to the NFL Cowboys. So that was the deal. So they left, but they were here. They played at the Cotton Bowl. Dallas Texans, they were a real team. So Dallas mayor wants Chiefs to join Cowboys as the city's second NFL team. It says here, it never hurts to shoot your shot, such is the case with Eric Johnson. All right, not even close to Brandon Davis, but that just shows how important or unimportant the mayor of Dallas is. Eric Johnson, the mayor of Dallas, who is hoping for a second NFL franchise to come to the city alongside the Cowboys. After news broke on Tuesday night that voters in Jackson County, Missouri rejected a sales tax measure that would have renovated Arrowhead Stadium, home of the Chiefs, Johnson took to social media to show his interest. And anyway, that's welcome home, Dallas Texans, Johnson wrote on X, along with a smiley emoji and the hashtag Cotton Bowl, the popular venue in Dallas. Well, first of all, if the Chiefs are unhappy with the current state of Arrowhead Stadium, they ain't going to just move into the Cotton Bowl. I don't know. Has the Cotton Bowl been renovated in the last 5 years? Because the last time I was at the Cotton Bowl, it was not good. It was like, it's the historic Cotton Bowl. And that's about it. That's it. Once you get past that, you're like, none of the bathrooms work. All the railings have chipped paint, and this is gross. The food facilities are awful. So I don't know. But could Dallas support a second NFL team? I think that Dallas is one of the cities that could. I think that if Los Angeles has room for 2 NFL teams, I think that Dallas could certainly. We're football crazy here. We're absolutely football nuts. And how great would that be? Could you imagine get an AFC team here in Dallas? I mean, by the way, let me just say, this ain't going to happen. This is not going to happen. Jerry Jones would never let this happen, but it could. I mean, it could. Could if Jerry Jones dies? No, probably not, because I can't imagine that Steven or any of the other kids would want it either. But it is interesting, and it's fun to think about. Now let's move on to what the real choices are. Right? There are some cities out there that people are saying could be the next home of the currently known Kansas City Chiefs. Chief among them, which I think is really awesome, and I would love to see this happen, but they would simply stop being the Kansas City Chiefs of Missouri and move 2 miles west and become the Kansas City Chiefs of Kansas City, or of Kansas, because that's an option. This tax thing that would have been used to renovate Arrowhead Stadium that was not supported by Jefferson County voters, that's just Jefferson County. They can move over. They literally can just move over a couple of miles, and they can appeal to a whole new county of people and do it again and see if they're willing to pay for it. Let's see if the state of Kansas is willing to pick up the tab for the team renovations. The other choice that they're saying is St. Louis, Missouri. They might just move across the state. They could move across. People in Kansas or people in St. Louis. I mean, do they miss having their Cardinals/Rams? They were a big football market for a lot of years that have been dormant. They've got the Edward Jones Dome down there, which is empty. Like the St. Louis Battlehawks of the UFL are playing at, the same stadium that used to be home to the greatest show on turf. Remember those? The Kurt Warner, the crazy Mike Martz teams. So St. Louis is a very real, and they would stay in the same state, and they'd just be the St. Louis Chiefs instead of the St. Louis Chiefs, or instead of the Kansas City Chiefs. What else are they saying? Let me see. Let me give you another one. So, and by the way, Dallas isn't a real one. The Dallas is that's just a story here locally because Mayor Brandon Davis. I'm still sticking with that. I like it. I like to think that St. Louis, Missouri. All right, there's a big choice. The former Edward Jones Dome, now the Dome of America, blah, 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 sits vacant. Kansas City, Kansas, we talked about this one. How about Vancouver? Vancouver, or it says here Toronto, both Canadian cities have been on lists of future or possible future expansion cities. That makes sense. I think that'd be cool. Toronto, let's get Toronto involved in the NFL. Screw the Argonauts. The Argonauts would they change their name to the Argonauts? No, because that's probably a brand that's owned by somebody who owns the Toronto Argonauts of the CFL. So you couldn't just have an NFL team named the Argonauts. They'd be the Chiefs. Toronto Chiefs. Vancouver Chiefs. Vancouver Chiefs. That sounds real. That sounds good. Vancouver Chiefs. All right. What else? Salt Lake City, Utah is also here. It says, hoping to stay out of the West to keep the AFC West division intact. Maybe the Chiefs would look at a beautiful place in Salt Lake City for their new home. Growing exponentially, blah, blah, blah. Home of Utes football, blah, blah, blah. Utah Jazz, one of the best drawing teams in the league, blah, blah, blah. Okay, there you go. Salt Lake City. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And finally, Portland, Oregon. They say Portland again. No, I don't think Portland. I like Vancouver. I like the idea of the Chiefs moving just like 2 miles west to a whole different state and getting a whole different tax deal. I like that. I'd like them going back to St. Louis. I would like there to be. I grew up in Chicago. St. Louis is right down the road. We liked that there was a team down there. That was all right. Got a team in Indianapolis, a team up in Green Bay. It seems like that's kind of a cool football. You could drive to any of these games. That would be fun. St. Louis. All right. Good luck to you, Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to end up staying. They'll probably just end up staying. But man, the other part of this is Patrick Mahomes is almost too big of a star for Kansas City. I'm sorry to say it, but imagine Patrick Mahomes as the quarterback of the New York Jets. Imagine Patrick Mahomes as the quarterback of the LA Rams. A big city, he's up there in Kansas City. I mean, they're doing fine. I'm just saying Kansas City isn't really a burgeoning metropolis of, maybe it is. I've been there twice. It wasn't great. Both were for work events. Ugh. All right, moving on. How about this one? Powerball. The Powerball is yet again up for grabs. This one, 23. Oh, here, what is it? 1.23 billion is what they're saying. It is going to be the fourth largest ever to a single winner. 1.23 billion Powerball. They're going to do that on Saturday, so get your tickets. I haven't checked, but if I have a little bit left over after paying the bills later today, I will use $3 from one of you in the chat room and get me a Powerball ticket. And then if I win, everybody in the chat room, you're going to win some money. You're going to win big money. I don't know how much, but you're going to win some money. We're going to take care of you. If there's only on any given day, like right now, 36, I give each one of you $1 million. Look at me. 36 million right off the top. Because I love you guys. Because you guys have really taken care of me. I appreciate it. All right, here's a story. We're going to watch a couple of videos here. Hopefully the internet will hold up for us and we'll be able to see these videos without having too much trouble. This is, I want to talk about this. This is a person, typically I don't like the Karen who is complaining about what the neighbor is doing, but in this case, I think she's got I think she's got an argument. I think that that's Powerball. Wait, where's the story at? Here we go. All right, so watch this. This is a former baseball player. This is a former Major League Baseball player. Let's watch the story, and then let's have a little conversation about it. You tell me what. Former baseball player building a house next door to a person who lives in a neighborhood. Remember what I told you about baseball players? They're the worst. Major League Baseball players are the absolute worst. They don't give a shit about anybody or anything. It's all about them. So let's watch this. Here we go. This is a story out of Surprise, Arizona, I think. I don't know where it is. Let's listen.
Right now, I'm standing in the backyard of a Chandler home where there's some serious construction going on the other side of this wall. A former Major League ball player is looking to build a baseball field in his backyard, and some neighbors aren't happy about it. It's not something Pam Lang ever thought she'd have to worry about when she moved into this quiet East Valley community 6 years ago.
I mean, everybody has a right to enjoy their own yard.
All right. So right off the top here, folks, strong Karen vibes out of this lady, right? I mean, just right out of the box. We're like, okay, she makes some points. I want you to give it a listen. Okay. I want you to listen to what she's saying about this. She's living there in this neighborhood forever. They're building a house next door, and the house next door has decided that they're going to put Put a complete giant baseball stadium in their backyard with light towers and with poles and giant fences to keep balls from breaking windows in the neighborhood. Let's watch.
But this is something that is beyond what is reasonable to expect your neighbors to tolerate.
The Chandler mom reached out to Arizona's family to tell us about what's going on behind her house. A neighbor who happens to be former Major League shortstop J.J. Hardy is building a field of...
All right, can I point something out here? And I'm glad that I was able to freeze it on this picture. I'm a baseball guy. I don't know, J.J. Hardy? I don't know who that is. I've never heard of that. What is he, utility infielder for like 15 years and now he's worth $100 million? I don't know. But look at this. Okay, so let's look at the house. So this is the lady who's complaining. Right here. See her house right here. Very sweet, nice neighborhood. This is the neighborhood of the Major League Baseball player. First of all, big, dumb, stupid house. Big, giant, stupid house. Look at me. I got the biggest house in the neighborhood. You know, he probably means a lot to him. So he just started constructing this stadium in his backyard, knowing full well that it bumpers up without any consideration that the people here living in this house, as she says, and she says, I'm going to steal it from her. I don't mean to steal it from her, but she says it's like living next to a Topgolf. Like she didn't sign up for that. There's got to be some rules, right? There's got to be some HOA things.
Dreams in his backyard, a miniature ballpark for his family and friends.
Trucks coming in and out.
Lang tells us she had no idea the baseball field was being built until construction started a couple months ago, and she noticed the giant 20-foot poles going up. Looking at a big fence and lights every night is not something she wants to be subjected to.
I did not sign up to live next to a baseball field. It's like a commercial. It's like living next to Topgolf, you know.
Here's an overhead look at the property near Gilbert.
It is. It's like living next to a Topgolf. She lives right here. These are these are going to be nets. These are going to be like the Topgolf nets. This is for, you know, balls so that they don't go into her yard and stuff. But you shouldn't be subjected if you live. This is not. No way. But by the way, can we say, look at this dude's house. Who is this guy? Imagine how Derek Jeter lives if this is how some guy we've never heard of before. He's got a putting green here. This is like a whole like front yard thing where it's like a golf course. Then he seems to have some real exotic resort style pool set up with, I'm guessing this is a guest house or pool house. And so here's going to be the baseball stadium, the baseball field. Was this going to be home right here? It'll be hitting. They're going to be
Gilbert and Riggs Road that's creating the controversy. There is already a tennis court and putting green on site. Arizona's family has learned the former ballplayer's home is on a county island, while Lang's house is in the city of Chandler.
There's an inherent unfairness to this, like an injustice, because he can do whatever he wants because it's a county island, and I don't have a recourse because I'm bound by all these rules in this HOA.
Lang has filed a complaint with Maricopa County and learned that her neighbor, who used to play for the Milwaukee Brewers and Baltimore Orioles, has yet to receive the necessary permits to build the ballpark. There are still height and distance requirements that need to be met, even on a county island. We reached out to the former major leaguer to talk about the field and neighbors' concerns, but a family member told us they have no comment.
nah.
It's very disappointing and frustrating that all I can do is file a complaint and hope that somebody in the county feels like listening to it.
County officials tell me the former ball player has until April 22nd to get the proper permits to put up his fence and finish his field of dreams. Whether or not he gets the okay or not, we'll keep you posted. In the East Valley, Jason Berry for Arizona's Family.
All right, Arizona's Family. That's an interesting branding choice for their news. It sounds very cult-like, but okay. Could you imagine that? I mean, so as they explained, their house is the last house that is accounted for in this specific county subdivision HOA. So she is beholden to the rules of the HOA. But for some reason, that corner, they called it a county island. It is a plot of land that is not beholden to the rules of the HOA, or even though that the houses around it are. So they can basically do whatever they want. Although then later in it, they said they haven't been approved yet. So the final okay for him to do this, hasn't been approved, but he must have been advised that it's a formality because that stadium, that little baseball park is way far along. They're already putting up the giant light towers and the netting towers, right? So it's far along. This getting news, I got to believe that they're going to shut that whole thing down, right? This is not a good look. He looks like an asshole. But I'm just going to do what I want. You guys, you think, how bad could it be? Well, first of all, if he's got light towers, I didn't see lights, but if he's putting in light towers, yeah, it's going to be really bad. Nobody wants to live next to a high school football stadium on game day. Those lights filling up your yard, you can't sit. It's terrible. Okay, that's just one thing. But have you guys ever heard Major League Baseball batting practice? Like heard, not seen it, heard. It's loud. It is loud. Somebody who knows how to hit a ball and is firing from a pitching machine, that is just constant racket. I mean, you don't want to live next door to that. And I'm sure this guy's an obsessive jerk who's going to be out there hitting like 1,000 balls a day. Windows are going to be broken. What a terrible thing. That sucks. That would be awful. All right, that's what's happening. That's what's happening there. Okay, now let's do this. So I saw this floating around today. This was going around on the interwebs. Saw this on Twitter. Apparently, this is a fight. A fight started. Did I lose it? I did. I just lost it, didn't I? That's okay. We got time. Actually, we don't have as much time as I thought we did because. All right. This comes out of the Oaklawn Cedar Springs district here in Dallas. Now, everybody here in Dallas knows what that means. That is the LBGTPQRLMNOP area of Dallas. Cool. I love it. I live right adjacent to it. It's just, as a matter of fact, I shop at the Kroger that is right there. Is that Maple and like Wycliffe, I think. I don't know, whatever. There's a Kroger there. I go in it. We call it Gay Kroger. We got 2 Krogers that we go to. One we call Kennedy Kroger. Kennedy Kroger. These are names that my son and I have for it. We call that one Kennedy Kroger because that's the one that's right across from Parkland Hospital, where Kennedy was rushed. So we go to Kennedy Kroger, and then we go to Gay Kroger. Gay Kroger is a little bit smaller than Kennedy Kroger. Kennedy Kroger is like, it's like a giant store. So we prefer to go there. But Gay Kroger is also really good, and it's really convenient, and we run up in there all the time. And it is very gay. It is nothing wrong with that. I'm not judging. I'm just saying it's, men holding hands and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of that going on there. I happen to, I'm just saying I have a familiarity with what we'll call the gayborhood. Back when I was on the air here, we used to do pub crawls in the gayborhood. We did 2 of them. One we actually set up our producer on a date. It was fun. We had such wonderful support from the gayborhood community back on the old Pugs and Kelly show. So none of this is, but they are fun people. What, I can't talk about how they're fun? They're fun. Saw a dude in Gay Kroger once on roller skates. You don't see that. Yeah. And they weren't roller blades. They were roller skates. You got to wonder, why did they let him in? And I would tell you, because it's Gay Kroger. They don't rock the boat over there. They just let people be people. So there was an incident in the gayborhood. I don't know if this was last night or recently, but it was at one of the bars, one of the LGBTQ, LMNOPQ, RSTUV bars. I don't know which one this is because I've been to a bunch of these. We did the bar crawls all up and down them. I don't know which one this is, but let's break down the fight. Yeah, they have bar brawls and, look, gay people can get angry at each other. It's nothing, a guy is a guy. It doesn't matter what his sexual peccadillos are or what his orientation is. A guy is still going to lose his shit when somebody he's into is making out with somebody else, or whatever it is. And I don't know that is the situation that led to this, but let's watch. And there are a number of things that we've got to keep an eye out for here. Okay. One, the dancing girl is just awesome. She's just, hold on, let me make these smaller. She's just like, they are brawling. See her right here? That's the dancing girl. She looks like she's wearing like a gold, whatever this is, this girl. And I'm calling her a girl out of respect. I don't know. She is obviously, dressed femininely, so I'm going to say she's a girl. Just dancing. She's just going for it while there is an absolute brawl going on over here between somebody's dad. I'm just gonna say that. It's like he looks like he just got off work from the accounting firm and he's gonna have a drink at the, whatever. So somebody's dad is fighting with we're gonna call this guy cut off jean short hot pants guy. Hot pants guy and somebody's dad are fighting. Let's watch how this plays out. Good bar fight. Good bar fight in the neighborhood. Yeah, this is dancing. What? Oh man! Oh. All right. Now we will go back and we will break that down. But how about that? That was fun, wasn't it? Did you see the girl in the red just get like pelvic kicked? She's like, yeah, you can't do this. And she comes shuffling across the dance floor in her high heels. And then Hot Pants Guy, we're calling him Hot Pants Guy. Hot Pants Guy, he just did like a spinning back kick and went conk and just like knocked her across the floor. Let's watch that again. Oh yeah, we're gonna watch it again. We'll break it down more. I still love the girl that's just dancing. I just love, she can't be bothered. She's in her zone. She's just dancing. All right, here you go. Let's watch this. Someone's dad, though. That's who we're calling. We're calling him someone's dad. Someone's dad with the hammer fists. Are you seeing that? He's hammer fisting this guy. Woo! All right, one more time. Here we go. Hammer fist. Watch the girl in red. Girl in red. Oh! One more time. Oh! So dudes in the cowboy hats, are they bouncers? Are they bouncers at this place? There you have it. Look at, see? This would be a lesson to you. LGBTQ people, they're just like us. They get into bar fights too, and they're very entertaining to watch and to break down. Still don't know where that was. I don't know. I mean, I know it's in the neighborhood, but I don't know what club it was. And I'm guessing that those dudes in the white cowboy hats aren't just like humiliated to have shown up in the same hat. I'm guessing they're, probably workers at the bar, bouncers. Yeah, that's going to be, we'll watch one more thing here. I got one more thing that we can watch here because this trailer for a new movie just dropped. And although I'm not going to see this movie, it looks totally stupid, but it is, the latest. All right, so this is the latest in a new trend that we are seeing with films as what is it called? Public domain. There are certain American classics that are falling into the public domain, which means that their copyright has expired and they're free use. If people would like to, reinvent what we saw recently with Winnie the Pooh. Remember, we saw a Winnie the Pooh reimagined as a serial killing woods monster bear, right? So we saw that Winnie the Pooh is pissed. But that's because the rights to Winnie the Pooh fell into the public domain, and anybody who wants to use them at some point can. They're no longer protected by copyright. Well, guess who was also recently fallen into the public domain? Bambi. That's right. There was a new Bambi film, and it's called Bambi: The Reckoning. Now, very interesting. Now, here's why this is kind of interesting. Because there is no cartoon character that I can think of that comes to mind that has as much of an axe to grind or could be written as a vengeful character, quite like Bambi, who had to watch his mama get shot and killed, right? Bambi should carry a lifelong anger towards hunters and people like that. So I don't know if that is, in fact, the plot of Bambi: The Reckoning, but let's watch. Here we go. Here's the first teaser released for the new Bambi: The Reckoning movie.
You ever shot a deer?
No. Have you?
Yeah. Once.
What?
Once.
All right, there you go. Bambi, the reckoning. Should have made the eyes red. That would have been a better thing. If that in that final scene where it's like snorting at the camera, if the eyes had grown red like a demon. There's Bambi, all grown up. I always assumed Bambi was a girl, but that looked like a big, healthy buck. That looked like a big, giant one. There you go. There's a movie I won't be seeing. Nah, not interested. Not even slightly. And folks, that's it. That is it. I think we have done the show. That is all I got for you. Covered as much as we could. Thank you to everybody for participating in Pledge Week. I do not know where we are. I will be looking at that after the show. Doesn't matter if we made it or not. I'm sure we did. I am sure we did. I'll have an updated list and all of that on Monday. Have a good weekend. Trying to think, is there anything going on this weekend? Anything we got to do this weekend? What do we got? Oh, Monday. So Monday, we're going to be doing, it's solar eclipse day, right? Apparently the eclipse is going to be going right over us here in North Texas and Dallas specifically. I don't know. It looks like it's going to be a little bit cloudy. So we're going to get screwed out of that. Don't worry. We're going to get screwed. We're going to wait. You're only going to see this once in your life. And then it's going to be like thunderstorms. And we're going to have like a 3,000 foot cloud cover. Can't see dick. Also, here's something fun about the eclipse, and this is going to get your crazy Bible land nuts. There is a comet that they believe might also be seen streaking across the sky during the eclipse. And the comet, I'll have you know, is called, ready? The Devil's Comet. Yeah, an appearance of the Devil's Comet is going to be heading our way. So that'll be fun. So we're going to do that on Monday, okay? So Monday we'll be back here. I love you guys. We'll talk to you then. Have a great weekend. And I appreciate you. And I'll